Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is your host, ID Jester. We're back looking at Dominion, and we're going to finally look at one of the expansion packs. This, of course, was the very first expansion released for Core Dominion called Intrigue. It was originally released July 2009. That was the first edition. The base Dominion was released October in 2008. And the original Intrigue was released July 2009. Since then, it has been updated to the second edition of Intrigue, which came out in October of 2016. And there were several cards that were removed from the original, several cards that were changed, and several cards that were added to the second edition. So it's not just a remake over. It's some wording was changed on some of the cards to make it so that it's a little easier to follow along what's going on. And of course, for balancing purposes or for ease, some of the cards were removed or changed or altered. So we're going to have a look at the second edition of Intrigue. So what is Intrigue? What is Intrigue? So as we talked about in our tutorial video number 1, the base Dominion set is basically the basics of the game. It's how you play the game, uses basic card draws. It gives you more actions or more money or whatever. Intrigue was the first expansion, and it brought newness to Dominion by making it so that there is going to be multiple decisions on the cards that the players have to decide upon. And also, there is now hybrid cards, meaning cards that are both victory point cards and something else, which you'll see as we go through the list here. So we're going to go through the list and look at each of the cards. We're going to talk about some of the notes that come with it. Just like the original Dominion, the Intrigue comes with a nice instruction rule book, but it also has, just like the original Dominion, it has the recommended sets of 10 for if you're playing with just Intrigue, or if you're playing with Intrigue and Dominion, or if you're playing with Intrigue and any of the other expansions. And there's some really cool, interesting things. So Intrigue is very cool because it adds kind of this spy stealth mechanic, or I guess not mechanic, but tone to the game. Like, you're always up to something, but your opponent doesn't know what. What are you up to? It's, why are you buying this card? What makes it, what are you doing with this card? Should I be worried about what you're doing? And why should I be worried? So, it's definitely going to be it adds a lot. Like I said in our first tutorial video on Dominion. The base game of Dominion is really good because it gets you into the game. It doesn't try to make it too complex. It doesn't try to make it too much for people to understand. It's just a nice, really good base game. But when you start adding all the expansions, it really starts to blossom in. The other thing I was thinking about after we did our tutorial from the first episode was, I was reading some articles and going through some of the different things that we went through, and I was trying to find a good example of what or how to describe Dominion and talk to people about Dominion. What does that mean? How do you win? What's the best thing you can do? And I came across an article, and they kind of described it pretty good the way they did it, so I'm going to try and do it the same way I do it. If you were to take 10 random cards out of this set, or combine them with the Dominion original set, you're going to come up with a recipe for a cake. And in that recipe for a cake, if you were to take 10 of these different cards, somewhere built into these 10 cards is the best cake, the best possible cake that you could make. And it's kind of the player's job to figure out how to make the best cake with the 10 cards that you have. Is it a matter of starting off the game and buying Baron, and then buying a Masquerade, then buying a Bridge, and then buying another Masquerade, and then going right for provinces? That might be the ultimate way to win, to make the best cake with those 10 cards that are out there. So that's what makes Dominion interesting, is that it every time you play it, it's a new set of 10 cards, and it's up for the players to try and figure out the best way to make the perfect cake. And there's only one way to make a perfect cake, and it's up to the players, if, just for example, if you're using, say, Baron, Masquerade, and Bridge, and these are like the most powerful cards and some kind of combination, well, if one player starts off with Baron, and another player starts off with Masquerade, but they use the same cards, it's still going to end up being a different cake because of the way you added your ingredients to the cake. So maybe player number 1 started with flour, and then added sugar, and then added eggs. Well, this player started off by adding sugar and eggs, and then added the flour. So even though you mightn't even be using the same cards as your fellow competitors, or you might not even be using the same cards, the turn order that you buy them, and how you add them into your mix to make the perfect cake really separates and determines how well you're going to end up scoring in each round of Dominion. So I thought that was kind of a good example of how and why it's so good. Is yes, there is every single solitary 10 cards that you put on the table, there will be a perfect way to play these 10 cards. But because you are going to have up to 10 quintillion different combinations, there is no way possible for you to figure out every single one of them and which way is the best way to do it. So anyways, let's start looking at the cards there and take a look. So as you can see, these are all the cards for Intrigue here. There is another 26 cards. So as you know, the base game of Dominion comes with 26 kingdom cards. And Intrigue comes with 26 cards. So if you were to combine those two, just those two sets, you would get 52 different kingdom cards. And as I showed in one of my previous episodes, if you have 52 different kingdom cards, there's over 5.3 million different combinations that you can make with those cards. And if you were to play 100 different games of Dominion every day, it would take you over 1,000 years to be able to play all of the different combinations that you can play with just those two sets in this game. So if you want to have a game where every game is going to be different, every game is going to be unique, and every game is going to be a challenge for each of the players to figure out the way to make the best cake out there. All right, so yes, so with just these 26 cards and the core 26 cards, you get a lot of game, and it's very reasonably priced. You can go on Amazon and get what they call, I think it's called the Dominion Deluxe Pack, which includes the base game and Dominion in a nice big box. And I think it costs around $65. And you can literally have over 5.3 million different combinations for the rest of your life to play and enjoy. All right, here we go. So let's look at Baron now. So Baron, it is a 4-cost action. Before we get into them, again, the main thing that drives Intrigue is the fact that there will be multiple decisions players now have to make with their cards, what they're going to do with them, and there's also hybrid cards, which, again, as you look back at the core game, there's a lot of good combinations and a lot of good way that cards interact and stuff, but there was nothing that made it was kind of all, I guess, what we would call standard stuff. There wasn't any specialness. It was just kind of standard, very good standard stuff. Now, Intrigue is now going to add in a whole bunch of new options, and it's going to exponentially make it better because you're never sure why your opponent, what they can do with the card, because there's going to be multiple options that your opponent might be able to use that card for. So, all right, let's look at the Baron. So the Baron is a 4-cost action card, and I decided to do it this way on the Dominion.games site because I thought it would be easier for you guys to see than me moving my camera around and jiggling and all that stuff. So hopefully you'll like this a little bit better. Viper Dave, how you doing? World's Worst Gamer and Gustavo, what's up, guys? All right, so Baron is a 4-cost action. Again, you get to start off your game with 1 action, which is A, B, C. 1 action, 1 buy, and cleanup. That's all you have to do during your turn. Obviously, the Baron here gives you +1 buy, which is, if you watched our first episode when we played our game, we actually only had 1 card that gave us an extra buy. So cards with extra buys are not as common as a lot of the other things, but they can be super important because you can end up winning the game if you have an extra buy at the end of the game, and you can buy that province and also a estates, and you might win by that 1 point. Anyways, what else does the Baron do? Well, you may discard an estates, but you get +4 gold. If you don't discard an estates, you gain an estates. So you must gain 1 if you don't discard 1. So obviously you start off the game with 3 estates. So Baron will be very good to get rid of those estates. The problem is the Baron sticks around unless you get rid of it another way. It gives you a huge investment of 4 money. You'll see that compared to all of the base games, I think this is the card that gives you the most money. And the only issue with, obviously, the Baron is it's a terminal draw, which we talked about. It doesn't give you any other cards, or it doesn't give you any other actions. So if you had 2 Barons in your hand, you could only play 1 of them, and the other one would be dead. So you can't, unless you have multiple actions from other cards, the Baron is basically a dead draw. But he does give you 4 extra money, which is super good because how many times, if you can discard an estates, which means you might even consider buying extra estates so you can discard them to get that +4 gold, because +4 gold is really good. As far as I know, there is no other information I need to share about this. So let's move on to the bridge. So the bridge is a 4-cost action, gives you +1 buy, +1 money. So again, another card that gives you a buy and money. This turn, cards everywhere cost 1 less. So all cards, including cards that are in the supply, cards that are in play, cards that are in decks, cards that are in hand, everywhere, cost 1 less for the rest of the turn, but they don't cost anything less than 0. 0 is the lowest they can go. So if you, for example, after playing a bridge, you could buy a gold for only 5, because gold normally costs 5. Because every card costs 1 less, you could buy it for 5 instead of 6. It should be noted that this is commutatively. So if you play in one of your same turns, by, say, using the throne room, if you played 2 bridges, then cards would cost 2 less each turn. So you can have multiple of these effects going on through either like a festival or through throne room or whatever. So if you had multiple bridges, you could actually make very expensive cards very cheap if you had the actions to play them. Obviously, a bridge is another terminal draw, which means it doesn't give you any other cards, and it doesn't give you any more actions. But it does give you the all-important buy and money, and it makes everything else cheaper. All right, so let's look at the Conspirator. The Conspirator is a 4-cost action card. It gives you 2 money, so that's the same amount as a silver. Exact the same amount as a silver. Silver gives you +2. Conspirator gives you +2. And then, if you played 3 or more actions this turn, counting this one, you get +1 card and +1 action. So, obviously, if you're going to build a deck around lots of actions, playing an action, getting more actions from that card, which gives you the ability to play actions, and those cards give you more actions, and you can chain many actions together. Obviously, Conspirator will give you the ability to draw more cards and more actions. Plus, it's the same cost as it gives you the same value as a silver, but it does cost 1 gold, it costs you 4 to purchase this, while a silver only costs 3. So it is a little bit more expensive, but you get the same resources as a silver gives you, plus the special ability as well. So that is the Conspirator. Of course, this does count actions you played this turn rather than action cards in play. For example, if you start your turn with a throne room, and remember from the base set, the throne room gives you the ability to play an action twice. So if you start with the throne room and you play it on the Conspirator, you would get +2 for the first play of Conspirator, and then you would get +2, a +1 card and +1 action for the second card you played of Conspirator, because that would be your third action you played this turn. Notice it does not say actions it does not say actions in play. It says actions this turn. So the fact that the throne room gives you 2 more actions, hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. So your first action would be playing the throne room. Your second action would be playing the Conspirator the first time, and your third action would be playing the Conspirator the third time. That would be your third action. All right, and so not a bad value for the card. Like I said, gives you the same resources as a silver, with the ability to maybe get an extra card and an extra action. And now we have the Courier. So the Courier is a 5-cost action card. Reveal a card from your hand for each type it has. And the type, this is the type. So this card only has 1 type because it's just an action card. For each type it has, you get to choose one. You get to choose either +1 action, or +1 buy, or +3 resource or money, or gain a gold. Every time you get to make a decision, though, the choice must be different. And if you do get a gold, obviously that will go into your discard pile. All right, so if you reveal a card, for example, let's see, I think is the Harem. Yes, so the Harem is a treasure victory. So that is a 2 different types. So if you played the Courier, for each different type it has, you would get to, if you played the Harem card from your hand, if you revealed the Harem card, you would get to choose 2 of those actions. +1 action, +1 buy, +3 resources, or gain a gold. And you could choose 2 of those, and they must be different. So that's what the Courier does. Let's go to the Courtyard. All right, it is a 2-cost action, very cheap card. It gives you +3 cards. What? Put a card from your hand onto your deck. Courtyard, wow. Put a card from your hand onto your deck. So you're going to take a card out of your hand and you're going to place it on top of your draw pile of your deck. If you do not have a draw pile, you will put it where the draw pile is. It'll be the top card of that. So the cards you draw do not have to be one of the cards you put back. It's once you draw your 3 cards, you can take any of your cards from your hand and put it on your deck. It does not have to be one of the 3 cards. And for 2 cost, a pretty good little card for 3 extra cards. Of course, it's a terminal draw card. So if you only had 1 action, you played the Courtyard, you drew 3 cards and they were all actions, you couldn't play them because you spent your action playing Courtyard. So it's a good way to kind of, if you had dead cards in your hand because of terminal draws, a good way to put those cards back on top of your deck, or one of those cards back on top of your deck anyways. Obviously it plays well with other cards that give you more actions, which are, as you can see so far, we haven't come across any of those that would help out with getting more actions. Let's see what the Diplomat does. The Diplomat, it is a action reaction. So again, if you play the Courier and you showed the Diplomat, then you would get to choose 2 of those choices on the Courier because it has action and reaction. It's a 4 cost. Where did I learn how to read? 4 cost. It gives you +2 cards. Notice the blue border. We talked about the blue border in the first episode. So the blue borders are reaction cards. So when you play this card, you get +2 cards. And if you have 5 or fewer cards in hand after drawing, you get 2 more actions. So you might say to yourself, well, how is that ever going to happen? Well, let's say your opponent plays a militia on you, and you have to draw down to 3 cards. Remember that? From the base set? Well, if they play that card on you, you're down to 3 cards. You play the Diplomat. You draw 2 cards. In hand, you're actually only going to have 4 cards, because the Diplomat is considered on the table at that point. So you would get +2 actions. So the Diplomat is a good way to get rid of that militia, the pesky little militia. Also, underneath the line there, it has when another player plays an attack card, you may first reveal this from your hand of 5 or more cards to draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards. So when another player plays an attack card, you reveal this card from your hand if you have 5 or more cards to draw 2 cards, then discard 3. So there is quite some information here in the rule book about the Diplomat. When playing this, you get +2 cards, then count your cards in hand. And if you have 5 or fewer cards, you get +2 actions. So for example, if you play this from your hand of 5 cards, you will put it into play going down to 4 cards. Then you will draw 2 cards going up to 6 cards. And that's more than 5 cards, so you would not get the +2 actions. Diplomat can also be used when another player plays an attack card. If you have at least 5 cards in hand before the attack card does anything, you can reveal a Diplomat from your hand. If you do, you're going to draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards, which can include the Diplomat. If you still have at least 5 cards in hand after doing this, such as due to Council Room, you can reveal Diplomat again and do it again. You reveal reactions one at a time. You cannot reveal 2 Diplomats simultaneously. You can reveal a moat from your hand to be unaffected by the attack either before or after revealing and resolving a Diplomat, even if the moat was not in your hand until after resolving the Diplomat. So you could use the Diplomat, and if you ended up drawing a moat, you could then show the moat to also prevent another attack from happening. So there is, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of ways that this, clarifies the use of this card and how things happen. So the main thing to keep in mind is when an attack happens, you can choose to react to it by showing this card and then following its steps. Now, if the player attacked you again, and you would have to show this card again if it was able to, and you still had 5 cards in your hand, and blah, blah, blah. So that is the Diplomat. Plus 2 cards, and plus 2 actions if you have 5 or fewer cards in your hand after drawing. So, again, really good way to get rid of that pesky militia or some other card discarder cards, which we might see here later on. Let's look at the Duke. So, green outline, we know it's a victory card. In this case, the Duke is worth 1 point, 1 victory point per duchy you have. So if you have 5 duchies, then each Duke you have is worth 5 victory points. And of course, you're going to use 8 Dukes for games with 2 players, and you're going to use 12 for games with 3 or more players. So if you have just 2 players, 8 of your Dukes in there, a 5 victory pointer. But again, if you could start scarfing up all the Dukes and your opponent doesn't get the Dukes, you might be able to get quite a few points worth of Dukes. All right, the Harem. So the Harem, so this is a treasure victory 6 cost. So it costs you as much as a gold. It does not give you the same amount of resources. A gold gives you 3 resources. This only gives you 2, the same amount as a silver. And it costs the same amount as a gold. This can be played either in your buy phase, like other treasures, and is worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. Of course, you're going to use 8 harems for games with 2 players, or 12 with games of 3 or more players. So victory points plus a little bit of money there. So that's cool. All right, so we're going to the Ironworks now. The Ironworks is for cost action. It is gain a card costing up to 4. If the gain card is an action card, you get +1 action. If it's a treasure card, you get +1 money. And if it's a victory card, you get +1 card. So interesting, the Ironworks, again, going back to this intrigue theme, right? Choices for the players, not just everything set in stone. Get this card, do this. Now it's like, ooh, I can get this card, and now I can do other things. Like, sometimes I might want to get an extra action. Sometimes I might want to get an extra card. Sometimes I might want to have a little bit more money. The card you gain comes from the supply and is put into your discard pile. You get bonuses depending on the type of the card you gained. A card with 2 types gives you both bonuses. So if you were to buy, right, we just looked at this, the Harem, which is a treasure victory, the Ironworks, you would get a victory and a treasure. So you would get +1 card and +1 money. So you get both of the actions that the card has at the bottom. So again, if you bought it with you bought a Diplomat, you get 2 action reaction. No, I believe these are the same, so those wouldn't count actually. But yep, it would be the Harem is a good example. Yeah, treasure and a victory. So you would get both +1 money and +1 card there. Plus, of course, you get to gain a card costing up to 4 cost, and depending on what the card costs, yeah, you get your different bonuses. Of course, this again is a terminal draw card because it doesn't give you any other. Well, that's not true. It does give you another action if you buy an action card. So, action. Buy this card, get another action to spend, so that can go in with some of the other cards we already looked at. So cool combinations going on there. All right, let's go to the Lurker now. The Lurker is a 2-cost action, very cheap card. What does it give you? +1 action. Oh man, we've been looking for cards to give us actions, haven't we? Well, there's the Lurker. It only costs you 2. And then you can choose one. You can either trash an action card from the supply or gain an action card from the trash. So if somebody trashes cards, right, you might be able to gain those cards from the supply. Or you can take cards that you know, if your opponent is buying cards and maybe he's... maybe he's going for maybe the bridge or the Baron or whatever, but it does only allow you to track action cards. So you could not trash like the Harem because that is not an action card. It's a treasure victory point card. You could not, you could not trash the Duke because it is a victory card. So very important. Lurker, trash an action card from the supply or gain an action card from the trash. So you could actually trash an action card to the supply from the supply, and then the next time the Lurker comes up, you could try to get that card from the trash. And that card obviously would not cost very much because you get it for free out of the trash. So, super cool, stealthy, yeah. Stealthy, hiding in the shadows, doing things behind the scenes, goes with the Intrigue. I really like Intrigue. Really, really like Intrigue. So, that's the Lurker. 2 costs, too. Gets you an action, and then you trash an action from the supply, and the next time she comes up, you can either trash another one, or you can gain one of the trash cards. Ooh, so cool. Masquerade. Oh, another good card here for the Intrigue. Masquerade. 3-cost action. You get +2 cards. And each player with any cards in hand passes 1 to the next such player to their left. And everyone does it all at the same time. Then you may trash a card from your hand. So, first you're going to draw 2 cards. Then all players at the same time choose a card, and everyone passes a card to the left, putting it face down on the table between the players. Then the cards are passed. Each player takes the passed card from the player to the right. Players with no cards in hand, such as due to a torturer, are skipped over. they neither pass a card nor they receive one. Finally, you may trash a card from your hand. If it is not an attack, this is not an attack, and so cannot be stopped by a moat. Yes, you notice this is not an attack. It does not have the action attack on it. It is not an attack, so players cannot try to prevent this. Everyone is going to be passing a card if they have a card in hand. And then past cards are not gained. So if there's abilities of cards that allow you to do things when you gain a card, these cards are not gained. And I think that's all the important things. So another cool card with Intrigue, the Masquerade. Fun. Messing with your, if you got this is kind of one of these cards that you can get if you have the feeling your opponent's got a really good deck going, and they got a lot of big pointers, and they got a lot of really good cards. You play the Masquerade, and they're going to have to pass one of these good cards to you. So hopefully that might slow their progress down. Masquerade. And you get 2 cards, plus then you get to trash a card. So if they send a piece of trash to you, you can still trash it. All right, then we go to the Mill. Mill is a 4-cost action victory card. 4-cost action victory card. It gives you +1 card and +1 action. And you may discard 2 cards for +2 money. And it's also worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. You can choose to discard 2 cards even if you only have 1 card in hand. But you only get the +2 money if you discard 2 cards. You only get the +2 money if you discard 2 cards. So if you only have 1 card in hand, you do not get the bonus. You're going to use 8 mills for games with 2 players and 12 mills for games with 3 or more players. So cards with multiple different effects on them. So 1 victory point each, and they, cards, and draw a card, draw an action, and you can discard 2 for a little bit more of your money. So that is the Mill. Let's look at the Mining Village. 4-cost action card. Gives you +1 card, +2 actions. You may trash this for +2 money. So you're going to first draw a card, and you get +2 actions. Then you choose whether or not to trash the Mining Village to get the +2 money. If you did, if you did trash it, then you get the +2 money. You may not trash Mining Village later in the turn. Only right then. If you throne room a Mining Village, you cannot trash it twice, and so cannot get the +2 money twice. So again, throne room allows you to play an action card twice. So the Mining Village, the first time, you would get +1 card, +2 actions, and then you would choose to trash it for +2 money or not to. And the second time, if you trashed it, then there wouldn't be a second card. You cannot trash it twice. Right. Okay, so you would... Right, so the first time, if you trash it the first time... you cannot trash it twice, and so cannot get the +2 money twice. Right. Correct. Right. You cannot trash it twice if you throne room it. Right. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So if you throne room this, you would get +1 card, +2 actions, +1 card, +2 actions, And the second time you could trash it for the +2 money if you wanted to, or you didn't have to. So that is the mining village. Minion. 5 cost action attack. Action attack. It gives you +1 action. And then you get to choose one. You either get +2 money or discard your hand. +4 cards. And each other player with at least 5 cards in hand discards their hand and draws 4. So you get +1 action, then you get to choose one either. Players wishing to respond with Moat or Diplomat, do so before you choose your option. So you tell them you're playing this card, you're playing an attack. They can choose to either play their Moat or Diplomat. But they must choose this before you tell them which option you are choosing, which is interesting. A player who moats this card, a player who moats this neither discards nor draws. All right, so you're going to choose either 2 extra money or you're going to discard your hand. You're going to then draw 4 cards, and each other player with at least 5 cards in hand discards their hand and draws 4 cards. Oh. Interesting. So if your opponent has a whole bunch of cards in their hand, might be a way to prevent that from happening, but most players don't start with a lot of cards in their hand. They kind of build up as their turn goes. Minion, that is Minion. Let's go to the Noble. Obviously, it's a green border, so we know it's going to be at least victory points, and it's an action victory 6-pointer. You get to choose one. You either get, again, going with the intrigue, so you got to make choices here. Choose one, either +3 cards or +2 actions. So very noble, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very situational, where if you need cards and you have plenty of actions, you can go that way, or sometimes you just don't have enough actions. You can choose the actions, and of course, it's worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. So it does cost 6. So that is Nobles. Of course, with Nobles, since it's a victory point with 2 players, you're going to play with 8 of them in the deck. 3 or more players are going to have 12 in the deck. Patrol. So it's a 5 cost action. You're going to get +3 cards. And then you're going to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Put the victory cards and curses into your hand. And then put the rest back in any order. So you're going to first draw the cards. Reveal the top cards of your deck. Put the revealed victory cards and curses into your hand. And you have to take all of them. And then the rest of the cards you're going to put back onto your deck in any order you choose. So you know if you have, say, a village, which is going to, or mining village, which is going to come up giving you a +1 card, and you have that with your patrol, right? And you have another action to spend. You might want to put that card, you can put the card you need on the top of your deck. So always good knowing what's coming up in your deck and setting it up into a certain order. That's why Aeon's End is so good, because you can set up your combinations so much easier in the deck building with Aeon's End, because you're setting up the way the cards come to you. This basically does the same thing. Patrol. Alright, let's go to the old pawn. It is a 2-cost action. You get to choose 2 of these things. +1 card, +1 action, +1 buy, +1 money, but the choices must be different. So you can do a card and an action, a card to buy, a card of money, an action to buy, an action to money, but they must be different. Pretty simple stuff there. Only costs 2. Doesn't give you anything besides that. It can pay for itself, though. A card and an action allows you to play another card and this action card. But in that case, it only costs 2. So, but it's very flexible if you need more cards or more actions or a little bit more money or an extra buy. To get that extra buy for only 2, pretty good in some situations where getting a second buy running through your deck. And so when you get those big money hands, you can get this and just use that for that extra buy. All right, replace. 5 cost attack and action. Action attack, actually. Or replace. Trash a card from your hand, gaining a card costing up to 2 more than it. If the gain card is an action or treasure, put it into your deck. If it's a victory card, each other player gains a curse. So this card actually has quite a bit of uses that are not seen to a lot of players right off the bat. You must first trash a card from your hand. So you have to have the card in your hand, but it's a good way to upgrade late in the game. Take a gold and upgrade it from gold to a province. So it's a good way of getting provinces very quickly and giving your opponent a curse right at the end of the game. So that is going to be a big change in victory points. You're going to gain a province. He's going to gain a curse. That's 9 victory points swing. So late in the game, replace actually has a really good use. Plus, lots of other uses. Upgrading from 3s to 5s. And what I mean by that is your weaker 3 cost cards. Your weaker 3 cost cards, you can start to upgrade those mid-game from 3s to 5s, which are going to be much more powerful cards. And then, of course, again, upgrading your gold to provinces at the end of the game, where you don't need that much money anyways. And this is a free way to do it. You probably should have 3 or 4 gold in your hand anyways by the end game. And you can just transmute or replace, I guess. Replace them with provinces. So replace. Super cool card. Secret Passage. Alright, 4 cost action gives you plus 2 cards, plus 1 action, and take a card from your hand and put it anywhere in your deck. So you're going to first draw 2 cards, you're going to get an action, then put a card from your hand anywhere in your deck. The card can be one you drew, or it could be another card from your hand. It can go on top of your deck, at the bottom, or anywhere in between. You can count out a specific number of cards and then place it down, like for example, if you want to place it the 4th card down, you don't have to randomly just insert it in your deck. You can actually count down. You can put it on top, the bottom, wherever. You can put it the 5th card down, the 6th card down. You don't have to guess. You can just count those cards out and put it in. So the Secret Passage allows you to take a card, again, kind of helping set up better combinations, or getting rid of cards from your hand that you don't, if you have 2 action cards, you only have 1 action, you can move that card from your hand, put it on top of your deck for the next time. So that is the old Secret Passage. Then we have the Shanty Town. 3 cost action gives you plus 2 actions. Then you reveal your hand. If you have no action cards in your hand, you're going to gain plus 2 cards. So you get 2 actions, you reveal your hand and say, I've got no actions. And you get plus 2 cards. These cards can have the cards that say you must not have action cards. They can combo cards that are actions, like the Noble Action Victory, still count because they are actions. So you have to have no cards that have the word action down at the bottom, even if they're a combination. The Shanty Town. All right, the Steward. 3-cost action, choose one. You're going to get 2 cards, you're going to get 2 money, or you're going to trash 2 cards from your hand. You're going to choose one of those 3 options, then you're going to do it. If you pick trash 2 cards from your hand and only have 1 card in your hand, you trash that card. If you choose that option and have 2 or more cards in your hand, you must trash 2 cards. So you have to choose one of those options. You cannot choose to not choose any of these options. You must choose one and plus 2 cards, plus 2 money, or trash 2 cards. You must trash 2 cards. You cannot choose to just trash 1 unless you only have 1 card in your hand. And that is the Steward. It's pretty simple. The Swindler, 3-cost action attack. The Swindler, 3-cost action attack, gives you plus 2 money. Plus 2 money. Each other player trashes the top card of their deck and gains a card with the same cost that you choose. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to attack them. Of course, they can... each other player trashes the top card of their deck and is going to gain a card with the same cost, and you choose the card that they gain. So, they can choose to moat because this is an attack. Starting with the player, right. You can choose any of the cards as long as it costs the same value. It must cost the same value if there's a card that costs that. If a player trashes a copper, you could give them a curse because they both are 0-cost cards. If the supply has no cards with the same cost as the trash card, the player fails to gain a card, actually. All right. So if they trash a card that's, say, 6, but all the 6 cards are gone, that might be a bad example. But let's say there's 2, right? So you flips up a 2, but all the 2s are gone. Then you won't get a card back. But it's a good way of causing your opponents to lose some of their better cards, or if you're playing against an opponent who looks like he's got his specific setup going on with his cards, and he uses Masquerade and the Baron and the Mining Village, and you want to try to trash some of those cards so that he can't use his combination so good. Plus, this card does give you plus 2 money, so it's the same cost. It's the same cost as the silver. Gives you the same resources as a silver, but it allows you to trash the top deck of a player's card. Again, it could end up being very advantageous in a situation like if they have copper in their hand, they can trash the copper and give them a curse. So it could be very good, and then it could end up being not as good if for example, you only have maybe 1 card that costs 4 in the kingdom, and they draw that card, and then you would have to give them back the same card. So that's kind of a bummer. So the Swindler, he's swindlery. All right, Torturer, 5-cost attack action. I think this is our 3rd attack card. Torturer, plus 3 cards, so we get to gain cards. Each other player either discards 2 cards or gains a curse to their hand, their choice. They may pick an option they can't do. So if all the curses are, if the curse deck is run out, they could choose to gain a curse. Oh, well, sorry, there's no curses left. And, oh, well, you just don't get to do that. So they either discard 2 cards or they're going to gain a curse to their hand, which they may or may not be able to do something with. But you get plus 3 cards, which is a nice bonus right off the bat. Let's see what else we have here. Trading post. That's what we have. 5 cost action. Trash 2 cards from your hand. If you did, gain a silver to your hand. So you have to trash 2 cards. You cannot trash 1 card. If you only have 1 other card in your hand, trash it and nothing else happens. If you have 2 or more cards, you must trash exactly 2 of them and gain a silver, putting it into your hand. So, this is kind of a dangerous card, but if you end up trashing cards from your hand, hopefully there'll be cards you want to get rid of anyways. You don't want to draw, say, the trading post with 4 other gold cards, because that would be kind of bad. Well, I guess you can choose not to play the trading post as your action, so that would not be horrible, but then we have the upgrade. We're almost done here, folks. Upgrade, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. Trash a card from your hand. Gain a card costing exactly 1 more than it. It's a 5 cost action, but it replaces itself. It gives a card, it gives you an action, and allows you to trash a card from your hand. So you're going to first draw a card, and then you're going to get another action. Then trash a card, and gaining a card costing exactly 1 more than the trash card. The gain card comes from the supply and is put into your discard pile. If there is no card available that costs exactly 1 more than the card that you trash, then you do not gain a card. You just simply trash the card. So if you trash, say, a copper, there is no card worth exactly 1. You would not gain any card, but it's obviously a good way to get rid of a copper. And last but not least, the old wishing well. Plus 1 card, plus 1 action. Name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If you named it, put it in your hand. So again, what was it? The secret passage. Right? So take a card from your hand and put it anywhere in your deck. If you put it on top, then you play the wishing well, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If you named it, put it in your hand. So, cool combo there. How about the patrol? Right? You gain 3 cards, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Put the victory cards and curses in your hand. Put the rest back in any order. So you're going to know what the top card is. You play the wishing well, name a card, and reveal the top card of your deck. If you named it, put it in your hand. So you can see combinations going there between wishing well, patrol, secret passage, because you're going to know what the top part of your deck is. Trying to think of. I think that's the only ones that we know the top part of our deck. I think so. So obviously, come back. Conspirator, right? If you played 3 or more actions this turn, counting this one, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. Wishing well, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. Upgrade, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. So you can see playing lots of actions, trashing cards from your hands, etc., etc. The Ironworks, again, getting a card and then getting some actions and treasure or more actions. the Baron, getting you an extra buy and discarding an estates or gaining an estates if there's one available, which could be either good or bad because estates obviously jam up your deck with low quality cards, but the more low quality cards you can turn into better quality cards, the better off you are. Especially with that +1 buy. So, interesting, right? Very, very interesting. So let's, oops. No. What are you doing, Tubi? I was going to see if we could set up a quick game of intrigue here. Hello? Oh, that's what I gotta do. And then I gotta go like this. There we go. Alright, so we're done. Let's set up a game of intrigue and see what we end up with. So this should be just all the intrigue cards. So it looks like alright, so he draws 3 coppers to his states. So he's got the 3-4 combo. No, I'm sorry. He plays 2 coppers. Gains a courtyard. Alright. So we have 3 here. Oh, what do we want to buy? 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 There's only 2 cards that cost 4. Yeah, we'll buy a silver. So he's going to play 3. Gain a Stewart. Oh, we got a 4. Oh, I'm like, why are we... Blah, 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 blah. We got some craziness going on here for some reason. I'm going to resign from this one here. We have... let's edit this table. Somehow we had 4 players on there. We don't want that. We don't want that. I'm going to show you guys what a 2-player game's like. Alright, done. Now let's go ready. Huh, no wonder I'm like crazy. I'm trying to calculate why all these... Wait a minute. How do we have 4 again? I just changed that. Are you done? Jeez. Here we go. Looks like there's just 2 people now. Alright, so, oh, hey, we get to go first even. So we got a 3. So we got the Lurker, the Masquerade. The Swindler, the Diplomat, the Mill. Secret Passage, the Duke, the Patrol, the Harem, and the Nobles. Wow, such tough choice. I think we're going to buy silver. He's got 4. He buys a Swindler. With our 4... The Swindler is an attack. Yes, it is. We're going to buy the Diplomat. Huh. And he plays 3 and buys a Masquerade. So we buy 5. Brother. You know what? We're going to get a patrol. Why not? So he's going to play a Masquerade. We draw a card. Or, I'm sorry, we're passing a card. We will pass him an estate. And he passes us an estate. Then he trashes an estate. Okay. He trashed our card. We're going to get a Lurker. He buys a mill. So we're going to play an Lurker. And we're going to trash... We're going to trash the patrol. And then we're going to play the Diplomat. And we're going to buy a silver. Okay. So he plays a Swindler. He trashes a copper, and we gain a curse. Plays a, oh, okay, so, right. All right, so we will reveal the top 4 cards of our deck, put the victory points and everything in, and then, so it's going to be Diplomat, Copper, Copper, Copper coming up. Okay. And we have 7. Oh, yeah. He plays the mill, trashes a card and a copper, and buys another mill. We will play the Diplomat. Unfortunately, we got our Lurker at the wrong damn time. 4-3. We'll get another silver, I guess. Plus 2 cards. We're going to pass him an estates. What does he pass us? Passes us a copper, which is nice. We will lurk to get the patrol. Yes. And then we'll play our treasures for 4 and get another secret passage. Alright, Diplomat, 2 cards. Auto play, we got 9. We're gonna get a province. We're gonna what's, oh, wait a minute. Trash is a copper and we got another curse. Damn it. And we got 7 again. We're going to gain another gold. We got to pass him a card. Damn. I guess we're passing him a copper. He passes an estate to us. Ugh. Alright, so what do we get here? We got to do this. So we're going to do a secret passage. So we're going to gain 2 cards plus an action. 3, 4, 5, 6. Or do we want plus 3 cards? Boy, one of these two. We're going to do the... Oh, wait a minute. Do what? Choose a card. Take a card from your hand and put it anywhere. Oh, right. Let's put the patrol. I guess that means on top. Sure, we'll put the patrol on top. Then we'll play the Diplomat. Ugh. Damn. I think it goes the other way. All right. So he draws 3 cards, reveals an estate, 2 copper and a gold. He puts an estate in their hand. Top decks 2 copper and a gold. Plays 2 copper and a silver and buys a mill. He likes the mill, doesn't he? So an extra... Oh, yeah, because it's worth victory points. So we're going to play a secret passage for cards. And then patrol. Oh, wait a minute. Undo. What are we doing? Take a card from the deck and put it anywhere. Let's take this one and put it on the bottom. Play the patrol. It's not going to matter. Done ordering. Play treasures. We have 12. Get another one of those provinces. We're going to try and stay ahead of him on oh, we're only going to have 5 this time. Yeah, we'll get a mill. I think the mill would be pretty good. We played 3 mills in a row. All right, we're going to lurk. And we are going to put a mill there. Confirm trashing. Oh, there's no more mills. I killed the last mill. Interesting. So we're going to get +2 actions. If you have 5 or fewer cards in hand, after drawing, we should have, 2 more actions. Which means we can play a patrol. Put this at the top. He reveals a mill, a swindler, 2 coppers. Puts a mill in her hand. Top decks 2 coppers and a swindler. Oh, we got a province. It's 14-13. And now we got to choose a card. We will done. Put it at the bottom. And we're going to stay ahead of him in provinces, hopefully. He trashes a patrol, and we gain a duchy. Oh, so we got a duchy out of that mess. All right. And I think we're going to take a harem there. These 2 victory points could be huge. He draws a card, gets an action, discards, buys himself a silver. We'll play our mill. And that gives us, you may discard 2 cards for +2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we definitely want to discard 2 for $8 and get another province. There's only 2 provinces to go. We got a 32, 22, 10-point lead with 2 provinces to go. Can we hold on? 2 cards in an action, please. What do we do with this? Putting it anywhere in our deck. There's 13 cards remaining. What do we want to do? Yeah, that's fine. We're going to put it at the bottom. Auto play 4. We're going to play the Diplomat again. Oh, we got a duchy. So he's only down 7 now with 2 to go. So patrol. We got 6. Damn. Oh, he had to buy a duchy, so he's only down a couple. Damn, golly. Let's put this at the bottom of our deck. And we're going to take the lead by 10 again. With just 1 province to go. Can we do it? Oh, we trashes a mill and we gain a diplomat. He's just messing with us big time. So we lost a victory point from that, so we're only up 6 now. What? By the secret passage. Take a card from your hand and put it anywhere in your deck. Take a card from your hand and put it anywhere in your deck. We're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we better gain some cards. Damn, 7. Well, we're going to have to duchy up here. He only had $4 he had to buy in his estates. Wow, I feel sorry for him, don't you? 5. We'll buy another duchy. Oh, we gotta pass the card. Yo, take my estates, buddy. He passes us a copper. 5. We'll take another duchy. Buys a card. Autoplay. That's only a 3. Look at all that. Man, I gotta get rid of some of these cards. We don't have any trash. Trash is the top card of the deck. For 3? Yeah, I think we just keep buying a little bit of money here. We're gonna pass you in estates. That might have been stupid. We just gave him a victory point, didn't we? 2 cards and an action. And we have to put this at the bottom of our deck. We'll get the diplomat. Oh my god. We're only up 5 points on him? You gotta be kidding me. We have to buy an estates or else he's gonna win. If he gets that province, he trashes a gold, he gives us a gold. Great. 5. We'll get that last duchy. That should be enough. That's, of course, he has to start buying dukes. Yep, he did buy a duke. I figured he would. Secret passage. Put a duchy down at the bottom of our deck. We have 6. Not enough to buy that damn last province. But we got enough to buy that. There's only 2 dukes left, too. And when those dukes are gone, that'll actually be the 3rd empty one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5, 6 money. But yeah, we'll play a patrol. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Done. Autoplay. 6 again. How much is this worth? 2. No, we'll get a doke. Swindler. Yes, we will play the diplomat. Draws the silver in his states, and then we have to discard, right? You must first reveal this from a hand of 5 or more cards to draw 2 cards, then discard 3. I have to discard 3 cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as long as we don't discard money, We'll be fine. We'll be able to buy that last province, assuming the game does. Oh, it ends. It's ended. He bought the last province. Well, he knew it was over. He knew it was over. We win. Yes. 58 to 49. We had 2 curses, 7 coppers, 4 silvers, 4 gold, 3 estates, 5 duchies, 5 provinces, 3 diplomats, 2 dukes, a harem, a harem, a patrol, and 2 secret passages. He had 2 copper, 3 silver, 2 gold, 2 estates, 3 duchies, 2 provinces, 5 dukes, a masquerade, 6 mills, a patrol, and a swindler. Oof. Well, there you go, guys. That is a look at the old Intrigue set. I forgot how we... Oh, there we go. Clicked on it. So lots of really cool cards. Lots of different choices to make now. Adds lots of variety to your base set. And adds some nice combinations. Ways to drag the game out by making your opponent passing cards. Or destroying cards on the top of your deck, and then they get to pick the card that you get as replacement, or trashing cards and then gaining cards from the trash. Super cool things. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. Thoughts, comments, suggestions down below. We'll see everyone next time. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Talk to you later.